Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be given the graph of a line, and we want to write the equation of each one of these lines, and we want to write it in standard form. So let's remind ourselves what the equation of a line in standard form looks like. We have ax plus by equals c. This is the standard form of a linear equation, and we want to write each one of these lines in this form. So let's see how we do that. Let's take this first line A, this red line. Okay, now from the graph, we can pick off a couple pieces of useful information, the x and y intercept. These may be useful for us, so let's go ahead and write those out. The x-intercept and the y-intercept. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the y or the x-axis, and it's at this point right here, -1 and 0. And let's go ahead and write this as just x equals -1. We know that for every x-intercept, our y value is 0. And likewise, for our y-intercept, the x value is always 0. So we want to know the y-intercept, or where the line crosses the y-axis. This occurs at 0, 1. And let's go ahead and write this as y equals 1. Okay, we know that the standard form of the equation ax plus by equals c. If we isolate the two intercepts along with their respective coefficients, we get the following. We can split this standard form equation up into ax equals c and by equals c. Nothing special here. We just it's called the cover-up method. Well, if we put our finger over the by, we cover up the by, what are we left with? We're left with ax equals c. Likewise, if we cover up the ax, we're left with by equals c. Okay, nothing special here. We just split this standard form equation up into two mini equations. Now, in order to write our equation in standard form, we need to find the following numbers. We need to find a and b. And we need to find these two numbers that when multiplied with the intercepts -1 and 1 give us the same answer, c. So we need to find a times -1 equals c, and b times 1 equals c, if that makes sense. So this actually may take a bit of trial and error, but for the more we do these, the quicker it'll be more simple to sort of eyeball them. We'll get more familiar with them. So since we have -1 and 1, this one's actually fairly simple. So let's take this first equation. We have, or this the intercepts, the x-intercept. We have x equals -1. And just for the sake of argument, let's go ahead and multiply this entire equation by, let's just say -1 for no particular reason. Let's multiply this entire equation by -1. So that'll give us -x equals a +1. Okay? And for the y equals 1 intercept, let's go ahead and multiply that by, let's just pick a number at random, let's say 1. What does that give us? That gives us a y equals 1. Okay? Well, actually, what we did here is we multiplied both intercepts by some number that when they're multiplied together, they give us the same number c, which equals 1. So what we can say from that is we can say that a equals -1 from this mini equation, ax equals c, or -1 equals 1, and b equals a +1. by equals c, or 1y equals 1. And notice that our c terms are identical. They're both 1. So we can say that c equals 1. So what we just did is we split up this standard form equation into two mini equations using the x and y intercepts, and we found our a, b, and c terms. So we can write out, this is actually a -1 for a. Minus x equals 1. So we can find out our standard form equation because we have these three terms. So let's go ahead and write that. We have a, which is -1, a times x in our standard form, plus by, or just y, equals c, which is 1. So we just found an equation by splitting the standard form equation up into two mini equations. We never want the coefficient of x to be negative. We always want it to be 0 or positive. So let's go ahead and divide through everything by -1 and make this term positive. These two negatives cancel, which gives us x minus y equals a minus 1. And that is the equation of this line A in standard form. Okay, so I went through pretty slowly on this example just so you can get an idea of what we're actually doing here and where we're going, but we'll actually get a better handle on it when we do more examples. So let's go ahead and do another one. Let's look at this green line B. From the graph, we can actually pick out two pieces of information. Let's go ahead and do that. We can pick out the x-intercept, and we can pick off the y-intercept. Y-intercept. All right, so the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. It looks like it's right here at minus 1 1/2, or just minus 3/2 and 0. Or we can just write this as x equals minus 3/2. Okay. Now our y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So this occurs when the x value is 0 and the y value is minus 2. Let's go ahead and write this as our y-intercept as y equals minus 2. We can do that because our x-intercept, y is always 0, so we can generalize that and just write this as x equals minus 3/2. And likewise for our y-intercept, our x value is always 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up two mini equations. We want to know what number times x will equal some number c, and what number times y will give us that same number c. Well, we know our x and y is right here, so let's go ahead and let's set up our x-intercept first. We want to get rid of this fraction, so let's go ahead and multiply our x equation. Let's multiply it through by 2 so we can cancel this denominator. That'll give us 2x equals minus 3, and we have our y equation of y equals minus 2. So we have two numbers here, and it looks like that if we multiply, oh, my computer's freaking out. Okay, if we multiply this x equation again by 2 again, we'll have a minus 6 for our c term, and if we multiply our y equation by 3, we'll have a minus 6 for our c term. So let's go ahead and see if that works. Let's multiply this again by 2, and that'll give us 4x, multiplying both sides by 2, 4x over here equals minus 6 over here. And let's go ahead and multiply our y equation by 3. That'll give us 3y equals 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. And right here we have two equations that have c as the same term, as a minus 6. So we have our two mini equations, ax equals c, or 4x equals minus 6, and by equals c, or 3y equals minus 6. So we can say that a equals 4, we can say b equals 3, and c is just minus 6. And from that, we can write our equation in standard form. We know a times x, or 4 times x, plus b times y, or 3 times y, equals c, which is minus 6. And that's all there is to it. So we're just using a little simple algebra technique by splitting up the standard form equation into two parts of it, two mini equations, if you will. And we're using those x and y intercepts to find our terms a, b, and c. So let's do one more. Let's do the last one. We have this light blue line called c, and we want to start off by finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. This occurs at 2, 0. So 2, 0, and we can just write this as x equals 2. And the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, and this occurs at 0, 4. 0, 4. Excuse me. And we can just write that as y equals 4. Y equals 4. Okay, so we have our two intercepts in these terms, and we want to split our standard form equation up using the cover-up method into two mini equations. So ax equals c and by equals c. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking for a, b, and c. We want to know what number times x equals some number c, and what number times y equals that same number c. And this, oh, actually we made a mistake here. This is minus 4. Y equals minus 4. Okay. So, and this is actually pretty simple too. If we multiply our equation x equals 2 by a minus 2, then we actually have an equation that has minus 4 for both terms c. So let's go ahead and do that. We have x equals 2. Let's go ahead and multiply it by a minus 2, which will give us minus 2x equals minus 4. And we already have our y equation solved for minus 4. So we have both of our mini equations solved for the same number c, which is minus 4. So we can write that a equals minus 2x equals minus 4. So a is minus 2. We can write b is just 1, by equals c. And then we can write c equals minus 4. Not a whole lot to it. Let's go ahead and write out our equation. We have a is minus 2x plus by, or just y, because b is 1, equals c, which is minus 4. And again, we don't want a negative coefficient for x, so let's go ahead, let's just go ahead and divide through by minus 1. These two negative signs cancel, as do these, and we have just 2x minus y equals 4. And that's our answer here. Okay, so not a whole lot to these. We're taking the standard form equation and we're splitting them up using the cover-up method into two mini equations. And we want to find what numbers, the number a times x gives us some number c, and the number b times y gives us some number c. We're finding x and y by finding the x and y intercepts, which we can pretty much eyeball off of the graph of the line. Okay, so these are actually pretty straightforward. We just need a little bit more practice, so go over these exercises a few times and get a good handle on it. I'll see you soon.